5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. We are here this afternoon in a hearing involving docket number 2021-53-T. Let's take get a roll call of commissioners. Present in the hearing room is Commissioner Powers and Commissioner Belser. Present virtually are, can we see them? There we go.
This is Commissioner Irvin. I'm present.
Thank you, Commissioner. Present virtually are Commissioners Irvin and Commissioner Thomas. Mr. Stark, would you read the docket, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Madam Chairman, other commissioners, Madam Vice Chairman, other commissioners, we're here for the proceeding in the application of Armstrong Relocation Company, LLC, Armstrong Relocation Company, Charleston, LLC, for the sale, transfer, or lease of a Class E household goods certificate of public convenience and necessity, number 2977 from Dale J. Cook Moving and Storage Incorporated. Madam Chairman, this has been scheduled for hearing on May the 13th, 2021, broadcasting virtually out of the offices of the Public Service Commission. Madam Chairman, I believe that this docket is in order and appropriate for hearing at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. We'll take appearances from the party. Who's representing the applicant, Armstrong Relocation Company, Charleston, LLC?
Madam Vice Chair and Commissioners, this is Jack Pringle of the firm of Adams and Reese, and with me is Mark Fitzgerald, who will be testifying on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Pringle. Office of Regulatory Staff. Mr. Pringle, I believe you were copied on a letter dated yesterday from the Office of Regulatory Staff, and in that letter, ORS indicated they did not intend to participate in the hearing in this matter pursuant to South Carolina Code Annotated Section 58-4-5010.
That is correct, Madam Chair, and in fact, one of the preliminary matters that I was going to presume to address would be to have that letter, even though it's been filed in the docket, to be marked for identification and entered into evidence at this hearing.
Okay, you want to offer that at this time?
I think that would be, yes, I would.
Okay, the letter from the Office of Regulatory Staff dated May 12th, 2021 will be marked as Hearing Exhibit 1 and entered into the record of this proceeding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then, and I'll take full responsibility for this, the company filed an updated application earlier this week to include a bill of lading as well as a certificate of insurance for its cargo policy. But and it just says it in the letter, the company's blockhead counsel left out the Dale J. Cook bills of lading that were attached to the original application. And so earlier this afternoon, I did file a further updated application. I apologize for the logistical challenges that caused. I would like to, at the appropriate time, to have the application as most recently updated, also marked for identification and entered into evidence as a hearing exhibit.
Okay, Mr. Pringle, the updated application as filed today that is accompanied by your letter dated May 13th, 2021, containing the application and the exhibits thereto, including but not limited to the bills of lading, the bills of lading from the transferor, the applicant's bill of lading, and other documentation will be marked as hearing exhibit number 2 and entered into the record of this case. Now let me just
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Let me just be clear here. That updated application is complete. We don't need any of the other iterations that were filed in the record. Is that correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Pringle?
I have
Preliminarily?
nothing as a preliminary matter.
Okay. You want to go ahead and call your witness?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The witness for the applicant is Mr. Mark Fitzgerald.
Okay, let's see. We'll get Mr. Fitzgerald on the screen. There he is. And Mr. Fitzgerald, the court reporter, will administer the oath for you to testify.
Mr. Fitzgerald, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
There you go. Mr. Pringle, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Fitzgerald, please state your full name and business address for the commission.
Yes, it's Mark Fitzgerald. The business of Armstrong Relocation Charleston LLC is at 7167 Cross County Road in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay. By whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Armstrong Relocation, Transfer and Storage in Charlotte, North Carolina, as well as managing partner of Armstrong Relocation Charleston LLC in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, and we'll talk about those companies in just a second. Have you caused to be pre-filed in this docket testimony in question and answer format consisting of 8 pages?
Yes.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or changes to make to that testimony at this time?
I do not.
If I asked you all the questions that appear in that testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Okay, Madam Chair, at this time, I'd like to ask that Mr. Fitzgerald's pre-filed direct testimony be read into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Fitzgerald's pre-filed testimony will be entered into the record as if given orally.
Thank you. And Mr. Fitzgerald, did you attach an exhibit to your testimony?
Yes, we did.
Okay, can you just identify that exhibit?
The exhibit being the application.
Actually, what I'm speaking of, Exhibit 1, a comparative balance sheet.
The balance sheet. Yes, that is correct. It is at the back of the testimony. That's correct.
Okay, and that's a balance sheet for the applicant in this case?
It is. It's a balance sheet from January through the end of March, first quarter of 2021.
Okay. Madam Chair, at this time, I'd ask that the exhibit to Mr. Fitzgerald's direct testimony, the comparative balance sheet, be marked for identification and entered into evidence as the next hearing exhibit.
The exhibit attached to Mr. Fitzgerald's pre-filed testimony, denoted as Exhibit 1 to direct testimony of Mark Fitzgerald, will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 3 and entered into the record of this case.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzgerald, if you would, and you sort of made reference to it in your introduction, there appear to be, and it's listed in your testimony, a lot of companies or organizations that have the name Armstrong. Can you just describe very briefly which one of those is the applicant in this case and what the other ones are?
Sure. Armstrong Relocation is the largest United Airlines agent in the country. As such, there are 30 locations that make up the enterprise of Armstrong Relocation. The headquarters for the enterprise is in Memphis, Tennessee. The organization itself has a family in Memphis, the Watson family, that owns a part of all 30 locations, and then each of the locations has a ownership partner that manages that business in that location. So I, along with the partner, or the managing partner of Armstrong Transfer and Storage here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The new entity that we created, which really started the beginning January of 2021 at the purchase of Dale J. Cook, is Armstrong Relocation Charleston LLC. I'm a managing partner as well as part owner of that business. Although the ownership structure of that is different than the Armstrong Transfer and Storage in Charlotte. So there are some similar owners in that business, but there are also some new ownership in that business. So they are two different entities, which is the reason why we wanted to have a certificate for that entity in Charleston and not work off of the certificate that is held by the Armstrong Transfer and Storage in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, and to be clear, does the Armstrong Transfer entity that you mentioned hold a certificate from this commission?
That's correct.
Okay, it holds a statewide certificate.
Yes.
Okay. And as you already made reference, you're seeking approval from this commission to transfer the certificate that was Dale J. Cook's to the new Armstrong entity, or the Armstrong Relocation Charleston entity?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. With respect to that Charleston location or facility, where does the company plan to operate? Is there an existing location there?
We have leased 35,000 square feet of warehouse space from the Cooks who had owned the business previously. So the business is actually in the same location that it was in when Dale J. Cook was in existence. We have just leased that warehouse space that was Dale J. Cook.
Okay. And then talk a little bit about that space. Does that have that facility have storage units as well?
It does. So it has a little over 2,000 square feet of office space. The remaining portion of that is general purpose warehousing. So within that, there's roughly 400 wooden storage vaults for storing household goods, as well as some metal racking for storing commercial goods.
Okay. And then are any of the employees that had worked with Dale J. Cook, and I'll just refer to Cook as the entity or the company, are any of those employees going to continue to work for your company?
Yes.
Okay. And how many employees roughly are going to be located there?
Our business is seasonal, so that number fluctuates really at this time of year as we go into the summer. But right now, we're in the neighborhood of, I think, 16 or 17 employees, as of right now today. Now that number probably will continue to increase some as we get towards the summer months.
Okay. And what about
Mr. Pringle, just a second, please.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Fitzgerald if he will speak up. He's trailing off on some of his answers, and I just want to make sure we can hear him. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fitzgerald, just lean in
I will.
as you're speaking. Tell me a little bit about the equipment that you have, the trucks that are located there.
Sure. So we acquired most of the rolling stock from Dale J. Cook. So we have their a couple of their trailers. I think it's 2 tractor trailers and several straight trucks of theirs that we will need to rebrand to the Armstrong and United logo. But we acquired some of their vehicles, and then also have purchased a new straight truck of our own, and we'll continue to grow that fleet as we have drivers and personnel to grow the business.
Okay. Have you obtained liability and cargo insurance that meet the limits that this commission's rules have set?
Yes.
And you're familiar with those limits and those insurance requirements based upon your previous experience with Armstrong Transfer?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Very briefly, what kind of training do you provide for those employees who are going to move and drive?
Sure. So we provide training at our warehouse facility. United also has training videos that we will have new employees review along with the training we provide in the warehouse. prior to going out to someone's residence. And then we also have ongoing both OSHA and DOT training for any of our drivers that is also provided by United Van Lines. And we have a safety department in the main office in Memphis, Tennessee. They facilitate those quarterly safety meetings and really, I guess, the content that comes out for those meetings.
Okay. And we've already discussed a little bit a balance sheet for the company. Can you just very briefly describe the financial capability of the company to be a statewide mover in South Carolina?
Sure. So the company obviously is a startup company as we purchased at the beginning of the year. The advantage that we have obviously is having the backing of the larger enterprise. Currently we have a $350,000 line of credit that we can pull from. We also have, like I said, the backing of the larger entity if we were to need additional financing beyond what the entity in Armstrong Relocation Charleston could have has currently on its own.
Okay. Does the company understand and agree to follow the safety rules and regulations that are applicable to its operations as a household goods mover?
We do.
Okay. Will the company agree to comply with all other applicable commission orders, rules, and statutes?
We will.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Please answer any questions that the commissioners may have for you.
Thank you, Mr. Pringle. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioners? Mr. Fitzgerald, I have a question for you.
Yes.
That as far as the tariff, am I correct that y'all will be a member of the South Carolina Tariff Bureau and utilize
Yes,
their tariff?
that's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Pringle, any redirect?
Well, I'm sorely tempted, but I don't think so.
You're limited.
Madam Chair. Yeah, it could hardly be any more limited than that. But I do not have anything more for this witness.
Mr. Fitzgerald, thank you for your testimony this morning. You may stand down.
Thank you.
Mr. Pringle, do you have anything further to bring before the commission?
Well, not that's really appropriate to at this time. Would the commission like a proposed order?
That's always helpful.
Okay, all right, that will do.
Want to give us if you can coordinate with Mr. Stark on timing of that.
I will do so.
And even though ORS did not appear, I still would suggest copying them on any correspondence.
Always understood.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing further to come before the commission, we will adjourn this proceeding, and thank you both for your presence today. We are adjourned.